Thinking about self-publishing and don't know where to start? Join the Spa Girls each week for 30 minutes of honest advice, tips and resources. I'm Trudy J and I am here with Cheryl Phipps.
Hi there.
Shah Barrett.
Hello.
And Wendy Vella. Hello.
Hi there.
You were laughing at me, weren't you, Cheryl?
I was laughing at Shah. I think she forgot that she was on video.
No, I'm trying to. So I've got a blanket because it's really cold. Because
it is cold
here at the moment.
It was -1 degree in the Waikato this morning when I woke up.
So that for our North American audience would be what?
No idea.
30s,
it's just cold.
30s,
cold.
Cold.
I'm in the 50s and it's cold. So
really,
there was it here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. Anyway, it was cold this morning, and I'm wearing lots of fleecy underwear. So this week on the podcast, we are talking about limiting beliefs and how we have dealt with them over the years, and the things that have changed for us by hopefully acknowledging that we have some limiting beliefs and things like that. So
and
we're all
on the
serious,
couch.
and we're all seriously comfortable about this topic.
Yeah, we're totally comfortable about this topic. This is great. You're gonna see the inner workings of the Spa Girls today. But anyway, I'll just be bugging Wendy about stuff, and she's just gonna be really, she loves it when I do this.
She'll be like, I'm already itching.
So Shah had a really good definition. Do you want to? Did you? Have you lost it again?
I'll do it. So basically, limiting beliefs are those that constrain us in some way. And I am reading this, so I'm not plagiarizing here. I'm going to put the link to the notes in the show notes. But it's basically things that we say or that we believe that kind of inhibit us in some ways. And often we can have limiting beliefs about ourselves, and kind of it's our self-identity, but also we can have them about other people. But I think for our On the Couch with the Spa Girls today session, it's really about our own self, limiting beliefs about ourselves, isn't it?
And we believe that they're fact. Like these, sometimes limiting beliefs are things that you just think are true about yourself, and you don't realize that you have a choice. And so,
I mean, I think maybe there's a little part of us that maybe acknowledges that this is a thought that's probably not helping me.
Yeah.
Or it's something it's a process, isn't it? Something we've always done that affects us the same way, that we've never taken the steps to change. So, but it sort of, that's when it happens, it's like, oh, well,
And I think the fact is that we've decided that because something has always been a certain way, that's the way it is. And it's like, it's in concrete. It cannot be changed. Yeah. No matter that you'd like to, it can't be changed.
Yeah.
Which we know is not true.
Yeah. So that's what we're dealing with today. Just a little light topic for the Spa Girls session.
Super light,
So who wants to go first?
Not me.
Not me.
Cheryl.
Oh no, don't pick on Cheryl. Why not Trudy? This is her idea.
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
lead off, Trudy.
No, you go, Trudy. I'll follow you, mate.
Okay. All right. I don't mind. So I've got so many limiting beliefs, you just wouldn't believe it. But and the other thing that I've talked about this before, but I feel like it's been an epiphany for me recently when I've been thinking about things. And I like to overcomplicate stuff. And Wendy was hassling me about saying, well, of course you do, like that's just who you are. But it's more than that. It's more than just, I like things being really complicated or whatever. It's that I think when something is simple, that it's not right. Like there's not enough to it. It's not creative enough, or it's not going to be good enough if it's simple. So, and this is across everything. If my marketing plan, like I've been trying to simplify it back and just do Facebook ads and newsletter, and like that's essentially all I've been doing recently, as well as the writing. And then part of me is like, oh, but I should be doing this and I should be doing that and oh, this is just too easy. If it's too easy, it's wrong. It's like, and I have to really work on myself. And it's the same with the writing. So if there's not 100 characters in there, and there's not this a flaming sword that also doubles as a race car that also can be something else, like it.
I believe it's called shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, well, there's also that. Yeah. And so I've just been working. I mean, that's something I've only really just realised in the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks that I honestly, it's not just that I complicate things and it's just this natural thing in my head. It's actually that I complicate them because if it's simple, it's not good enough. Like it, and it's such a, and it's like simple is amazing. and I have to really work on this. Simple can be fantastic. Simple can be the best thing in the world. And I read some of my favorite authors out there, and the complexity, I guess, it can be complicated and complex are different in my mind, maybe, I don't know. But you know, you can have a book with just 2 characters who don't go anywhere, but they can be amazing because of the emotional kind of interaction that they have. You know, you think about your favorite books, my favorite romance books. I mean, they don't even have to have lots of characters. It's just about 2 main characters and their interaction, and it's all about the romance between them. And, you know, sometimes the setting is almost irrelevant, you know, like, I mean, sometimes. But, you know,
we throw in a character because the book is not working as well as it should, so we think another character needs to come in, thereby complicating things further.
Yeah. And I add all this extra crap in there, like I'm adding flaming swords that are also race cars, and you know, extra characters, and you know, all these complications. And actually, if you pull them away and just leave it about the 2 people and the emotion, that can be really, really powerful. And that's kind of what I've been learning or trying to work on for myself.
It's part of your charm, I will say.
What, the complication?
No, the overdoing things.
Yeah. I have always overdone things. Like I had these guys for one conference sitting down stuffing lollies into it.
Don't even. Oh my gosh! And then let's not forget when you took over designing the ballroom for the dinner.
Oh yes,
which usually we just rock up with, and you know, for the romance writers of New Zealand, you know, like we were all dragged down there, and just cutting stuff out, and
it reminded me of Emily, the mother in Gilmore Girls.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
That was Trudy. Here are the bags. You must do it this way. Exactly. No, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. She's always been that way, though. You've always been that way. That's part of who you are. Like, if ever I would come to pick you up for something, you'd be like, no, wait, I need this. And she'd come out with like bags full of crap that no one needed and she was never going to use. And she's like, but that's always been you. But
I mean, that brings me to the question then, where's the line between personality trait, which is, and you're right, it is, in all seriousness, it's a beautiful thing having that kind of mind of Trudy's, because that's where great creation comes from, is from people that have that expanded limitless thinking kind of thing to a limiting belief. Where's the point where it works against you?
For me, it is it leads to confusion and overwhelm in my writing career. And so when overwhelm, I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to, takes me too long to write a book. It takes me too long to, like, I'm trying to do every single marketing tactic that we've ever talked to any guest on the podcast ever. Like, they mention it, I'm trying to do it, you know, like this kind of stuff. When actually what we have learned is that if you focus on, you know, and none of the guests that we've had have ever done everything, right?
No.
It always has been one thing that they've been extra good at, and that's what they focus on. And that's what I'm forgetting. I'm trying to be good at everything instead of just trying to.
We've always said, get one thing right before you move on to the other. And that's, and the thing is, if you're overcomplicating things, you're not getting it done properly.
No.
You know, like you won't get.
You can't. There isn't enough time.
No, there isn't, you know. So I'm really glad that you found that, because that must have been hell.
I'm really glad we started with you first.
We've got another 25 minutes on Trudy. It's all good. So, question though, now that you have kind of come to that self-realization, how have you changed how you approach your writing in order to kind of work with that?
So what I've always done is I've plotted these really extensive, complicated plots out beforehand, and I have all these things that are happening in the thing, and then I go to write it, and I can't fit half of it in because, you know, I think this thing's going to take a chapter, and then it takes 3 to actually get the right pacing and flow through it. So I've just realised I've always tried to cram too much in because I felt like there wasn't enough in there, and what I've realized is that actually I just need to, it's about slowing down the pace a little, and it's not slowing down the pace of the novel, because it's still action in urban fantasy, but it's just about knowing that I don't have to cram so much in there, and don't have to have so much.
You've basically given yourself permission to just like
chillax.
You know what? That's a red letter day right there.
And that is producing a lot of words for you, hasn't it? Like your productivity in the last month has increased massively in terms of word count.
There's a lot of anxiety and stress around feeling like you have to be going at stuff all the time. And I feel like for me, it's just been about calming down and also giving myself permission to just sort of, this is just slightly different, but giving myself permission to just write and know that it doesn't have to be perfect and amazing and the best thing ever as well.
I think that would be a big thing for a lot of listeners, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because when you're trying to do everything, perfectly, that's another, but for me, it's also that calm, feeling a bit calmer around everything. Like I do have a manicness to my normal everyday personality. And I'm just trying to kind of be a little bit more mellow, and that in itself is rolling over to being able to do stuff. Like I this week I had to delay my pre-order a week, and previously I would never have done that. I would have freaked out. I would have been dramatic about it. I would have been doing all these things, and right now I'm kind of like, yay, that was a fantastic decision. Like that was perfect for me because. And it might not be, it's just for me in the way I am always doing stuff. It was always having to do it to this deadline. It was how I worked. I had all these things, whereas now I'm just working on just not doing all of that, which is slightly different to the whole complicating. But it is kind of about keeping things simple as well. It's like not putting pressure on myself to be something as well. I don't know. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. So let's move on to the next person. Cheryl.
Okay. So I think mine is around consistency, and that is actually I mean that in every aspect of my life, and the fact that family has always been my priority, and latterly I have felt that my job has become my priority, and that the two kind of they ward with each other. And so I think it was has been my mission recently to make sure that they are more harmonious, because I am very much worried about missing something when I'm doing a book, which is so different to every other job that I've ever had. Being working in accounts or doing payroll, everything had to be perfect. And I guess I have always thought of myself as a person that prides himself on not perfection, but trying to attain it, just actually wanting to. That is part of my personality, is wanting to be really, really good at something. And I think for quite a few years since we've been in the business, I had this overwhelming feeling that I'm average. I'm just average at everything. And I think that's troubled me on a really deep level, and it hasn't, sort of like bubbles to the surface every now and again when things fall apart, as they have recently with a few things. But then I have to look at what I've achieved this year, and it kind of blows my mind and makes me realise that maybe an average person can achieve that, but
no,
you have
you're
to
not
be
average.
But you have
I don't think anyone's average, and you're definitely not average.
Okay. So I'm not saying that for you to do that. Sorry. That's a totally different topic, isn't it?
Yeah. So you notice the difference here. I say I'm manic, and everyone goes, yeah. Cheryl says I'm average, and everyone goes, no, you're not, Cheryl. Sorry. Yeah.
But anyway, I think that I'm this year, how hard it has been for everybody. We are not immune. The Spa Girl's not immune, but I think we've all gained something from our time together, because it's forced us to be together in our bubble for far more hours than we have ever done before. But also these sorts of things have come up, and we're actually able to chip away at them and to make our to make everything harmonious, which I guess is what I'm talking about.
What you're saying is, like, you found that sort of, it's that work-life balance for you, your family. So you wanted to make sure you were giving the same to your work as you were your family, or you didn't, and so that's been warring a little bit with you.
I think so, but also accepting the fact that at times, especially around a release or a deadline, which I still believe are important to have deadlines, otherwise I probably wouldn't achieve anything. Is to accept that this week or this month is going to be flat out with the books. I've got to do all this, got to do this advertising. But next month, I'll calm it down a little and spend more time with the family. And you know, it's working that out, and that's kind of like having everything set into place in a calendar or whatever, so that you can look ahead and you can go, it's okay. It's okay for me to be crazy right now, because it too shall pass.
So when, in terms of the limiting belief of that, so is it because you're worried about not spending time with your family or not spending enough time on the work, or?
Yeah, because I want the work to be good, and I have certain goals, you know, like for the month, for the year, you know, the next 5 years, but also because my family, as you know, is so important to me. I miss it, you know. It's like a shot in the arm to spend time with them. It makes me feel better in, you know, every facet of my life. So I need it, I want it, I crave it, and you know, just like the work, it has to have its own time. But yeah, I guess there is that little guilt in my mind that it should always come first. And
guilt is a big one, isn't it? Like, I feel like guilt is a big part of why we do stuff or don't do stuff, or we feel like we should.
Women have got that one, and just in general, women particularly.
I have a lot of guilt around family.
Yeah, so do we all. But I mean, if I think about what you were like, Cheryl, but I started life, a little bit of work, housewife, my family were the most important thing to me, and always have been. And my jobs have only ever just been an income. They were never a career.
Yes,
they were never a vocation. Right. They were never anything. And then all of a sudden I started writing, and suddenly, wow, I'm actually quite good at this, and I'm this. And all of a sudden there's this little power struggle. All of a sudden something is taking importance over what has always been important, and I think that's a real struggle for a lot of us, because it's not something we've ever had to deal with, and I've come to it later in life, and I never trained for it, and I'm sure she is the same. So
no, I don't think you can train for it.
No,
to be honest, I think it's a summation of life experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's move on then. Is that all right? We'll move on to Wendy, since she started talking. So Wendy, what is your limiting belief?
Limiting beliefs. I don't think I forgot any.
So can I just tell you what you said to the group just a few minutes ago? That you have a fear of waking up tomorrow and it will all be gone. Can we talk about that for a few moments?
I think it's negative thoughts too. Like, I think that which is part of that. I can easily be swayed by a negative thought. Like, it can be something very small. It can be a bad review, or it can be a family member saying something to me, and that will just manifest itself, and it just changes my complete mood and the way I'm feeling. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know. I want everyone to be happy all the time. I do. That's a real problem for me, but it's something that I need to learn to get a handle on. And when it happens, I need to say, okay, well, you know, I can't deal with this. There's nothing I can do to change this, so I need to move on. And I'm getting better at it. I'm getting a lot better at it. And I know Trudy wants me to speak about the imposter syndrome. And yes, I do have it in spades, actually. But I'm not really sure that it's something I'll ever overcome. It makes me who I am.
I think we all have it, don't we? Like, I don't know.
I struggle with people talking, you know. It's just, you're either that way or you're not, and I don't like it when people say, oh, you know, you did really well, or you, so, you know, I'm okay with it. It's lovely. Everyone loves a compliment, don't get me wrong, but let's not labor the point, you know. Like, I'm not comfortable in that sort of situation. It's not the way I roll.
You don't believe it's true because you haven't.
It's so ironic, because you actually have the proof.
Yeah,
that you are a good writer. You actually have the proof. We don't talk about facts and figures too much here, but I have to tell you, I'm not going to. I have to tell you that Wendy is amazing. Her career is just fantastic. Ha
Watch Wendy's face. Watch the YouTube video of Wendy's face.
But it's the absolute truth. It's the absolute truth. She is doing amazing well, and yet she feels like this.
You know, the thing is, it's I have been incredibly lucky, and I got into this game at the right time. Look, you know,
see, it's all external. It's not her. It's like, it's luck at the right time. It wasn't because you wrote really well. It wasn't because you had the savvy to do stuff. It's not because you worked hard. Oh no, none of that. You were just a bit lucky. It's just crazy.
But if we were talking about the one thing that limits us when we're working, moving on from that horrible conversation, it's definitely negativity. I'm pretty good at swinging my moods now. I can change them pretty quickly. But the negativity that others bring on into my life is something that it has a huge impact on me. And that is something I need to learn to get a handle on, because it's always going to be there.
What does it mean though? What are you saying in your head? Because that's external forces, right? And so limiting beliefs is something that you believe about yourself.
I think it's a worry. There's a worry. No, I mean, insofar as it's a worry, I worry about what goes on out there. I worry about, like a news article, I'll watch it and it absolutely devastates me. And I'll be still remembering that a news article in 5 days, because that's just the sort of person. I think it's a sensitivity thing. Like my husband thinks I'm the most sensitive person he knows. And I just think that it's just, I cannot compartmentalize things. And that's, I think, is the issue. I need to be able to go, that's not me. There's nothing I can do about that. That's a problem for someone else or another day, and deal with what's in my sphere and deal with only what I can control. And I think I'm slowly mentally getting around that. It's just a very slow process. For me, if that gets quite heavy and deep all around, but that's I think I am quite sensitive to a lot of what goes on around me, and that affects me in a big way, especially with my writing and stuff. When I was in lockdown, I was sweet, like no one could get near me, man.
Do you know what? I really like that about lockdown too. I was kind of like, I don't have to do anything. There's no.
There's a lot of people, I think, that have felt like that it was a little
absolutely
from the world.
But on the flip side to the negativity, I want to say I can go like that into positivity. I can just, if I'm really bad, I can just sit there and go, okay, what's good? Bang, bang, bang. The next thing I know, I'm great. So it doesn't really keep me down for long. And I'm a very upbeat person mostly. But yeah, it's there, and it's something I'm aware of and I know how to deal with. And that's, I don't yet, but I will do. I'm getting there. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. I think it's time to move away from you, Wendy. Thank you
good. Please.
For your time on the Spa Girls couch. So we're down to the last person.
Can you just remove the white light that you're shining in my eye?
I'm sitting here in the dark, so but ironically, considering that I'm last and Trudy was first, I would be pretty much exactly the opposite of Trudy. So I believe, I have this incorrect belief that if I find something really difficult, then I'm never going to be good at it and I shouldn't bother to start in the first place. So it's that perfectionism, but even before, so that's it's kind of the opposite of Trudy in a way, and that's tricky. So if anybody's done Becca Syme's writer's strengths, so Clifton's strengths, I'm number 1 on intellection, number 2 on learner. So shout out to my fellow over researchers here. But so I kind of have to honor that, but it's the accepting that I can still do something even if I find it difficult. And I really don't mean this as a self brag. I promise I don't. But I find quite particularly around tech and around learning things, I actually find it quite easy. And so, but writing I find really difficult, and yet I want to do it more than anything. So it's just that juxtaposition of something that I want to do but I find so difficult compared to other things that other people just pull their hair out. Like we were talking before, and you guys were talking about,
who's the worst at technology?
Not so much who's worse, but who finds tech easy. Well, I do. I just do. I just have this. But it's the old story. It's the muscle thing. I'm constantly doing it, and I find it interesting, and I love learning about it. And
but you can control it, and that's the thing about it, isn't it? It works for you because it's black and white, and it works. Whereas the writing,
I think it is black and white, and I also think it's you can see progress really easily. So if I'm installing a new computer system, or if I'm learning something in Photoshop, you can actually see it. It's tangible that you can
That's
see.
right. And it's something
and
you
you're
can
getting
learn
that feedback,
how to do.
right?
And
But
it's like you do it and then this happens and then the next thing happens.
Yeah.
You know, that used to drive me absolutely bonkers about computers when we first came in. I
That's
remember
how-
doing a computer course where you had to learn to use computers because we'd never used them in our lives before, or my life before. And I just remember hating them with a passion because of exactly what you love about them, because it was this.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Shahs
are very, you like a how-to. You like the how-to, but no one actually can tell you how to write a book.
No, that's it.
Well, they can give you all the tips in the world, but until you have to sit down and and you can't flick a page and it goes, start here.
No, that's it. But it goes back down to if it's difficult. And I remember this as a child, as the same thing. The subjects that I struggled with, which was maths, I'm no dummy. I could have done it, but I didn't. I immediately told myself at probably 7 or 8 that I couldn't do it.
Maths
so
isn't
that
my
was,
thing.
you know, so yeah, that is definitely a major one that's holding me back. So
what do you do, like in terms of your limiting belief? It's that if it's hard you can't do it,
I
or
think
if you
it's
find
finding evidence. For me, it is having evidence that it is. And so one of the things that's really helped actually has been how we've been doing with our spa girls. You guys may not have noticed, we take a turn each 1 week each during the month of doing the social media, and also writing a writer's life kind of thing on a Tuesday that's a little bit more personal. And just having that rhythm of doing that, I find that actually pretty, I mean, sometimes coming up with the subject is a little tricky, but it's just having that kind of consistent doing it, and it's my week, so there's no question that if I don't feel like it, too bad, I've got to do it. It's that kind of thing. And now I've got a folder on my computer that's got all my writing and that kind of thing, and I can see that growing. So I think for me it's the tangibles. I need the tangibles, and Wendy's just disappeared from me. I don't know if she's disappeared for you. Clearly I've put her off completely. So
it's all the disgusting talk of schedules and things.
We've had Becca on before, but I also I think I spend a lot of time, a little bit like Trudy, kind of fighting against my personality, if you like, or kind of like, for Trudy, it's that expanse of that world, that exploration of things around the topic, if you will. For me, it is, I've got to acknowledge that I do love my learning, and kind of, kicking myself that I just can't get the hell on with it is actually not helpful at all. And one of the things that I learned from Becca was actually giving myself time to learn. And so every week I build in 2 hours to do something on course, or to learn at something, and that kind of fulfills that, and that's taken the pressure off hugely off me. That's been really good. Okay, so that's me.
That's awesome.
But look, we're all human, and we all learn, and sometimes as you move through something and you learn something more about yourself, other things pop up further down the track. You never really get it
never
all.
really free of those limiting beliefs. No.
And life is not static either. So sometimes you get something, and the next day, for some reason, it slips away again.
Yeah.
But you just have to keep working at it, don't you? And
I think, and I would say too, I think what I'm hoping is what Trudy said before gives a lot of people, because I see this a lot in writer forums, is people, they have that overwhelmed feeling and they can't do everything. And so what I think the message, particularly that Trudy was saying about simplifying, when we talk to our guests, she's absolutely right. They're not all doing everything, certainly not by themselves. So, they're being good in one part. So that's cool. And the other thing is, I don't think there's been a single guest that we've had on that has basically, excuse the French, had all their shit together, like with, but they're carrying on despite that. So, just because you may be feeling these things doesn't mean that you can't be,
you can't do it, do something.
Yeah.
And if you do, if it's not quite working, doesn't matter, keep going. It will work, and you just have to keep trying new things. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's us for another episode.
Now Trudy's beaten us to a
now I feel quivering, bloody and raw.
Really? Because I feel like I was pretty light on all three of you, and I could have done
actually
a lot more if we'd had more time.
Yay, we don't have time.
Yay for that. So where can we be found? Someone?
Well, we can be found at selfpublishingpodcast.com, selfpublishingauthorspodcast.com or spargirlspodcast.com.
Awesome.
And
Brilliant.
Anywhere else?
Really?
Just
wherever you want.
I feel like we put so much effort into Facebook that I feel like you should go and check us out on Facebook.
I feel like you should also come along to YouTube, possibly not today because we were looking, I speak for myself here, slightly haggard, but
I like my new white hair.
Trudy's got her haircut in a new colour, and it looks really cool. So come and look at Trudy's at YouTube at Spa Girls Podcast, and hit the subscribe button because we're putting ourselves out here now visually as well as audio.
We love it.
It's a big thing.
The only reason I dyed my hair was because I knew that I had to be on video. So that's another episode of the Spa Girls Podcast, done and dusted. We'll be back next week.
Bye.